The PFL playoffs chug along, Dominic. We are on the second of our third batch of playoff matchups, and this one's got to be the most highly anticipated of the bunch.
Mm.
Your two biggest divisions, literally, in the
Mm.
company, as on the men's and women's side, as you have heavyweight and women's featherweight, Dominic. So, two playoff matchups apiece per usual. We do know some of the drama that has went down this season with the heavyweight division. Certain emerging contenders, guys that looked real good early, unfortunately being in the half of the company that tested positive for PEDs. So
Yeah, yeah.
what you have left here is the following: your heavyweight matchups. You have in the main event Renan Ferreira, all 6'8" of him, taking on Maurice Greene. He is one of John Jones's like right hand guys. Maybe for all I know, that Maurice Greene also serves as like his wingman. Maybe I don't know.
Mm. Some would say.
Also at heavyweight, you have Denis Goltsov, the long-term PFL heavyweight, taking on Jordan Heiderman, who, funny enough, was on last season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Mm.
Came in pretty recently here. Has only fought once in the PFL and made a big enough splash. And due to a lot of the craziness going on, he has benefited. He has snuck in
Mm-hmm.
to the playoffs. Meanwhile, on the women's featherweight side, Larissa Pachecho is back. She's taken on Olena Kolesnyk, a woman she has beat twice already.
Mm.
And you have to start our night Marina Mokhnatkina taking on Amber Leibrock. So, Dominic, let's start with those two heavyweight matchups, the big boys. We've
Sure.
had our fun with Head and Ferreira. Denis Goltsov is definitely a guy who's been a little underrated in the PFL. He's only lost twice, and
Yeah.
he's been in the PFL. This is his, I guess, fourth season competing in the
Mm.
tournament. Only lost to Ali Asayev, which I believe was actually that might have had a championship bout, and then he lost to Ante Delia, who obviously ended up winning the heavyweight title last season. So, what do you kind of make of those two matchups? Anybody who may kind of sneak out as like a potential underdog win? How do you view these two favorites in Goltsov and Ferreira and anything else?
Yeah, it's interesting that we got 2 out of the 4 playoff finalists getting in due to other circumstances in this division. Maurice Greene, it's a cool opportunity for him, a guy that's even been in the UFC, has the lineage to John Jones and trains with John Jones, has John at these events and in his corner, going up against Renan Ferreira. That's a tall task, no pun intended there. Renan is a guy that we've seen potential with and the damage that he can do. But man, when he's off, it is a lackluster, dull outing from him that usually results in him losing his fights. He went 1-1 this year. Technically, though, that one got overturned to Rizvan, who was the front runner at the beginning of the season to win it all at the heavyweights. And for the other side, for Denis, I feel like this might be the year for him to finally not only get to the championship, but to win that championship. I mean, he's been killing it this year. 2-0, first round knockouts in both of those. Jorgen De Castro was even one of them, which was another UFC not contender, but UFC veteran. It'd be cool though. I feel like the biggest story to come out of heavyweight would be a guy like Heiderman pulling this off that had only fought one time this year, did it with a leg kick TKO, and you got to defeat Denis Goltsov to get to the finals. That would be the storyline, if any, to look out for the most, is that potential upset factor there to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of shutting down the Maurice Greene. Like, I like his, like, obviously he has that interesting anecdote that he does train with John Jones, but he's 1-2 in the PFL.
Mm.
He's looked pretty bad, quite frankly. Renan Ferreira is, like you said, a guy who shows splashes of awesome and
Yeah.
dominance,
Yeah.
but a lot of underwhelming in there as well. But Maurice Greene does not present near the type of matchup that you would need to bring out that kind of dull showing from Renan
Mm.
Ferreira. So
Yeah.
I feel like Renan should coast through that one pretty easily. If Maurice Greene were able to pull it off, though, that would say a lot to me about how whatever kind of rejuvenation might be occurring for a guy at 37 years old. He is only giving up. He's actually not as much smaller than Renan Ferreira as you might think. Only 3 inches of reach he's given up and 1 inch of height. Definitely a very tall guy in his own right, but
Yeah.
Renan Ferreira is just such a freaking
There's something
monster.
about him, isn't there? Yeah.
Like something's a little deceiving there because I would have guessed that Renan Ferreira would have towered over Maurice Greene before I read their actual listed height and weights. Maybe there's something a little off with the listing
Yeah.
there.
We'll see the face off
Was
in the
Maurice
morning.
Greene getting his height taken wearing like high heels or something? I mean,
Yeah.
what's going on here? But yeah, as far as your other heavyweight matchup, I was very much taken aback by what Denis Goltsov has actually put together across 4 different seasons in the PFL. Like he's been on the cusp of kind of accomplishing that ultimate goal, being able to cash out with that $1 million cash prize, but just hasn't been able to do it for one reason or another, whether it's a loss in the championship, a loss on the way to the championship,
Sure.
or maybe I think he's even maybe had an injury or some visa issue before that might have kept him out. The door is wide open for him here. You have no Kapalozza, no
Yeah.
Dalia, no
Yep.
Kunaev. Jordan Heiderman's interesting. He's the youngest guy in the field here, only 31 years old. Undefeated, actually, as a
Yeah.
professional, I believe. So he looked good against Patrick Brady, but Patrick Brady was another inexperienced heavyweight. So
Yeah.
it's a big jump in terms of experience, but he should have certain advantages in terms of athleticism, maybe speed.
Sure.
But I expect Goltsov to ultimately get the win, and I would favor him as of now to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, this is the year for him. With those other guys off to the wayside, he's leading the charge. He's the number one seed, 2 first-round finishes. See if he can cap it off with 2 more first-round finishes and win $1 million.
Are we feeling the loss of those three guys I mentioned with Kapalozza, Dalia, and Kunai? Like, are you really feeling it when it comes to this heavyweight playoffs, or do you think it really wouldn't have made that much of a difference in terms of your overall excitement for it?
I think I'm feeling a little in terms of the intrigue. I would say so. I mean, for one, Maurice Greene went 1-1. Technically a guy that was on the outside looking in. He finished as the 5 seed, meaning he wouldn't have gotten in. Whereas someone like Bruno for me, really, it was Kunaev was the most intriguing part of the heavyweight
Right.
season. The huge signing, an Eagle FC champion, came in, looked good in his first fight. It was kind of lackluster. It went through the distance, but he still looked good in that one. And then we lose them all. So, I feel like these fights can still deliver in terms of what we see in the cage, but the intrigue and the types of matchups, I feel like we're losing a little bit out on, to be honest.
I think we're losing quite a bit. I think ideally you have the three guys that aren't here and Goldsov. I think it's like,
Yeah.
bam, what a foursome you have there. Because there's a lot of intrigue if you put those four in there, in my opinion. Now,
Mm,
some of you watching may feel like it's PFL. Like how much intrigue can there really be? But I don't know. I mean, Dalia, the way he kind of was able to, after that war him and Kapalozza put on to
sure.
cap off the 2021 season, he comes back and wins the whole thing in 2022. Unfortunately, it's an injury. I
Mm,
think it was, right? It was an injury to start this season off that
yeah.
prevented him from competing in the first round or the first half of the regular season. So then he comes back, and in his next fight with Maurice Greene, who is here in the playoffs, he wins a decision and is not enough, even though
Yeah.
he beats a guy who is literally here.
Yeah.
So again, it's just not a perfect. There's no real perfect way to do like a tournament scoring system like
It's
this.
never going
But
to work out how it should.
yeah, but so him not being here and getting a chance to kind of go 2 for 2,
Mm,
Kunaev being the new guy on the block, the former Eagle heavyweight champion. I was excited to see how he would do in his second outing. And obviously Kapalozza is a lot of fun.
yeah.
Put those three with Goltsov, who I think has kind of earned his right to be in that upper quadrant of PFL heavyweights. That would have been really, in my opinion, pretty legit for heavyweight playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just, everything's too unpredictable, and good old PED's got in the way of some good old fun, Dom. I mean,
They did. They did.
just a damn stay off drugs, kids. How about the women's featherweight matchups? I mean,
Okay.
Larissa Pacheco is going to be a heavy favorite to not just
Sure.
defeat Kolesnyk for a third time, but also to outright win this entire season. Have you seen any reason to believe in any of these other three? Marina, Mokhnatkina, she's been around a while. Amber Leibrock seemed like someone we were all excited about, and then she got smashed by Larissa Pachecho in her last outing.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking here, Dom?
Yeah, before Amber got matched up with Larissa, I was definitely excited to see what could happen with her. But then they fought and she lost in 45 seconds. So that kind of tells the story there. It's Larissa going to go more than likely back to back here. When you've already beaten Olena twice, both by finish, and maybe we see a little bit of what happened with her and Kayla, where Kayla had beaten Larissa twice and then Larissa won the third one. Maybe Olena can pull off the major upset. But I don't think that's going to be happening.
You were trying. You're
Yeah,
trying.
I'm trying here to make some storylines, right? I think it's hard for Larissa to give this up. This is her championship to lose. This is her $1 million jumbo check to lose here. I mean, Amber is still exciting, I guess, because she has that finishing prowess. But Martina overall, I mean, she even has a decision this season. Or I mean, Marina, she could probably win that fight. So I don't know, man. Like, regardless of who faces Larissa in this round, which is Olena, and in the championship, she's probably going to smash and win again.
I hate to be like that because I know we want to try to give these matchups the time of day, but it truly just feels like this is all Pachecho all the way, and it's just going to be how quickly she gets them out of there.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these three can shock us like Larissa did last year against Kayla Harrison. I highly doubt it. There were murmurs among us about the idea of Pachecho being able to potentially win against Kayla Harrison.
That's true.
We're more so just trying to make sure we remember who these ladies are so that way we don't forget who's fought who.
Yeah.
None of these, I mean, Leibrock had the really great showing in her first fight of the season, but that's really the only reason we're holding on to anything. I mean, she does have like the 72-inch reach, which makes her the longest fighter of the four.
Yeah.
So, like, she does have an interesting style advantage, but you just saw Larissa just ran through her like it was nothing. And
exactly,
I think that kind of cut the legs out from underneath whatever potential might have been there. But she's already 35. Like, I mean, how much was that really going to go? And then Kolesnyk and Mokhnatkina have been around in the PFL for a while now. I mean, to Marina's credit, she's only lost once in the entirety of her PFL career, and it was to Kayla Harrison. So she's never actually fought Larissa Pachecho. So I feel like that's the matchup you kind of have to root for here. If we're trying to get the most intrigue out of it, let's do that. Because guess what, Dominic? Here's a storyline: Marina Mokhnatkina, 3 losses, all via decision. She has never been finished in her career, and to go up against the ultimate finisher in Larissa Pachecho, can she outlast her?
I hope. Well, I don't. I hope to see somebody challenge Larissa Pachecho. Julia Budd did it, but obviously she's not here. She's not one of the 4 finalists. Someone else has to pick up where Julia Budd started this season.
Dominic's probably, as soon as we get off recording play, Dominic's gonna look at me and be like, "Dude, are you sure you weren't forgetting Aspen Ladd's matchup? Like, I swear, I mean, Dominic, I know that's your favorite fighter in the whole company. I'm sure you're shocked that she's not actually in the playoffs here."
Yeah. Rumor has it she'll be there. She'll be ready.
Oh shit! They're flying the jet out.
Yep.
But all right, if you guys would like to comment below, let us know what matchups you're looking forward to. Let us know how you're feeling about the PFL season format. Are you kind of getting tired of it? Did you ever like it? Are there ways to improve on it with the emergence next year of the super fight division? Is it worth keeping around? This might be a topic that we'll go into at a later date.
Sure.
But make sure to comment below and give us those thoughts. That way we can kind of mull over it over the next couple months. As always, like and subscribe. And we'll be back here Tuesday to talk about what divisions are we talking about, Dom? Lightweight and welterweight?
Lightweight, welterweight, yes.
Yeah. So
they decided to do a card on a Wednesday because that's what the PFL does.
We'll try to release that on Tuesday since the card will be on Wednesday. So make sure to be back here for that if you love the PFL. See ya.